So the question, are we too hard on Chinese EDC company, everyday carry companies, et cetera, et cetera? Are we just, listen, are we too hard on them? Are we really giving them like too much grief? I don't know. It's a question that I think about pretty often. And the crazy thing is that there's a lot of Chinese made knives and flashlights and bags and all sorts of stuff that I get all the time whenever for this channel. And a lot of times I feel myself on my videos having to say stuff like, quality knows no geography. And I don't know why I have to make all these disclosures, for items that are not made in America. It kind of throws me off a little bit. It kind of makes me think like, what's the purpose of having to always make these type of disclosures? And I don't know, let's rewind it a little bit. So it used to be, before we really started to do tons of trade with other countries, there was a limited number of things here in the States that we had the ability to do ourselves. Now, we've always had the ability to make our own knives and, forge our own wallets and mess with leather goods and stuff like that. But when we started to do trade, it really expanded the amount of stuff that Americans could get. And it also expanded the quality of things that you can get for a relatively lower price in a lot of instances. Not in every instance, but in a lot of instances, you could get something that may have used to cost you X, Y, or Z amount of money for 20, 30% less if you got it from a Chinese distributor, from a Chinese manufacturer. And of course, we understand what that really means to get it from a Chinese distributor, from a Chinese manufacturer. Labor's cheaper over there. Labor laws are different over there. I mean, I think they got kids working and they got people working all sorts of hours. And I think, like, for instance, the website Temu, there's been reports of them like literally not giving people breaks and people getting calluses and blisters and sores all over their hands. And, so there's a lot of things to think about when it comes to getting stuff from Chinese companies. But there's so much stuff that we use in our everyday lives that come from China. And a lot of people in my comments would be like, if I was buying Chinese or if I was still using Chinese stuff, then that thing may be for me. That's a 100% fair statement. I think that if you have the ability to go all made in America, then go for it, right? I think that is something that if you feel like you have the ability to do, then just swing for the fences, get your tech stuff, your EDC stuff for your watches, everything in the States. But I think we might be too hard on Chinese-made companies, not for their labor practices, because I think that they probably do have really shitty labor practices. I mean, they don't have the same type of labor laws that we have here in the States. And of course, they can kind of just do whatever they want in that regard. And my biggest complaint about Chinese companies is the way that they flood the market with their goods. I will say that really is kind of an issue for me. Look how pretty lovely that damn swirl lines is on that. But that kind of an issue is for me. And as much as I'm a big fan of them, I think they are pumping out some good products, although I do say sometimes they're the iPhone of the flashlight community. Olight is a corporation that pumps out a lot of flashlights, a lot of them very similar to the last one, and I think they're leaning heavy into design, and some of their flashlights are leaning heavy into functionality, like the Marauder series and stuff like that. But this is one company that floods the market with flashlights. Kubi and Kaiser, some Chinese companies that flood the market with knives. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the quality's not there, but we just have to have an understanding that if you're messing around with either one of those companies, you're gonna have a lot. Civivi and We Knife not as much, but Civivi, they also flood the market when it comes to just pumping out a lot of knives all of the time. So a lot of times we do want to find ourselves going American, right? I have the Benchmade North Fork here, and I really want to get the new Benchmade North Fork that doesn't have the recurve, because this is hard AF to sharpen, but nonetheless, you know, the Hogue Deca, something like that. It feels good to have a made in America product. It feels fantastic to know that you have it and that you're using it, but they do cost significantly more for value to value. If you're comparing the same steel, maybe you're not using like a lot of the Chinese companies don't use American steel, so it's kind of hard to compare S30V blade of a Benchmade or, you know, CPM Magna Cut 20 CV blade steel of a Hogue Deca, which are both American steels, to something that's coming over from WE or something like that. But you know, but the point is I think that they are pumping out tons of EDC stuff, and it does concern me that I don't know when enough is enough. You know, I can't tell you how often I open my inbox and I prep myself to read an email for the day, and as I get ready to read the email from the day, it's from a Chinese company that has emailed me overnight, because when I'm asleep, they're awake and they're emailing and all that other type of stuff. And a lot of times it's just like, hey, we want to see you this item. And I'm like, God dang, like I really kind of wish more American companies would engage with me, not because I desire it, because I would like to promote some American made items, some American made services, but they are starting to become fewer and farther between. And it is a little bit sad. You know, so I have some upcoming reviews for some companies that try their best to do American assembly, to do some stuff here in the States. I have a review of this Mercedes watch that I'm wearing, which is assembled in America, you know, using globally sourced parts, but hey, they're still assembling in America. That's a good thing. You know, I have a review coming up of, I think Benchmade sending me some new stuff out. I got to check and see what's going on with that. But you know, there are companies that are still trying to pump out some quality goods when they can. But what do you think? Do you think that we're too hard on Chinese companies? I'm not defending the CCP at all. The Chinese Communist Party, they are some dirt bags. And I think that labor practices over there are completely shitty. So let's just get that out the way. But first off, look at that espresso before we add the water to it and make this into an Americano. This is some good looking stuff here. Some good looking stuff. I think that here's my final take when it comes to American made versus Chinese or even Taiwanese. You know, Spyderco gets a lot of stuff made in Taiwan. I think that foreign companies overall have the ability to pump out good quality products. I just wish more of the stuff was made here in the States. That's just my wish. I really do wish a lot more of it was made into the States. I'm about to put my Ultra Human ring on my finger for the day after charging it. Haven't charged this thing in like 5 days. It's a great ring. It's probably made in China. You know, I was looking at my Boker scalpel knife, which I was like, is this a German-made Boker? Is this an American-made Boker? Is this a, and I figured I don't think they make anything in America. Is this a Chinese-made Boker? I think about that stuff all the time now when I get a new item. I got my iPad mini right here, which I use all the time when I'm sitting here at this little coffee mess, getting ready to make myself a cup of joe for the day. Chinese made. You all probably have iPhones in your pocket, or Google Pixels in your pocket, or Samsungs, or whatever the case, in your pockets. And I think that it is hypocritical if you're in the everyday carry community and you lean heavy into American only, and I'm only gonna buy American only, if you also have tech or other items that are part of your EDC, not just talk about your general life, but a part of your EDC, which are made in China. I do think it's hypocritical. It would be hypocritical for me to say I lean heavy into EDC items that are only made in America, my wallet, my flashlight, my sunglasses, all that stuff. And then I hop on my iPad mini or my iPhone 13 or any other device that's made in China. it just wouldn't make a lot of sense. It would be completely hypocritical to me. I would just say don't limit yourself to geography. Geography does not know any bounds. But I will say, if the company is flooding the market with stuff, if the company seems to just always be releasing products, if you're not a fan of that, then don't freak with those companies. I particularly think that Kaiser makes some good products. I do. They do pump out a lot of knives though. I think Kubi, some of the knives that they've sent me have been really impressive, but they do pump out a lot of knives. Olight, you know, I'm a big fan of the aesthetics of Olight. Like if I want a flashlight that's gonna look good in a photo, it's gonna look good coming out of my pocket, you know, I am grabbing an Olight. This new Arcfeld here with the little black and red logo or colorway on it. This thing is pretty freaking nice. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's pretty good looking. You know, and they do have flashlights that carry that functionality. But if I want something that I can shine 400 meters away, you know, 300 meters away, I'm looking at an Ace Beam or a Nikkor or a Streamlight, which I think all those are made in China, but they don't lean so heavy on aesthetics. So it just really depends. You know, could I get a mag light made in the USA? Absolutely. Plenty of our law enforcement, our boys in blue carry those things. Folks that do tactical job carry those type of things. Could I find tech made in the States? Are there tablets and tech that are made in the States that are viable for me to carry every day? I don't think so. But you know what? I'm gonna try to put together a Made in America EDC. And I'm gonna try to present it to you guys. I think it'll be difficult. I can see the likes of like Montana knife companies, Ox Manufacturing, Hogue, some Made in America Spydercos. You know, so I can see a lot of Made in America stuff that I could possibly pump out. Flashlights is gonna be Maglite. Watches, I got plenty of options for watches. Tons of options for wallets, plenty of wallets made in the USA. Tech will be a little bit different. That might not be a part of it. And of course, my guns are always made in the USA. At least the ones I carry. There are some ones you can get them made in Europe, but you know, China's not known for pumping out some guns, so you don't have to worry about that. But what do you think? Do you think that the flooding of Chinese companies making their everyday carry items is getting entirely too much? If this is your first time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you a part of the battalion. Hit the like button as well. I don't ask for a lot, but I'll ask for those two things 100%. Think about joining channel memberships. I'm about to start dropping PDFs on specifically for channel members on different kits that I think will work out well for you, listed and itemized. And it might be advantageous for you to be a channel member for that type of stuff. So anyway, I got shit to do. I'll catch you later.